Welcome to Prime Space, a Prime Coaching Academy podcast with your host, Elias Scultori. So hello, coaches. And today for our Prime Space episode, I have a guest. And you know, I love when I have someone to chat with me here. And today I invited Rachel Vandenberg to come and talk with us here today. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Elias. Thanks for having me.
It's a joy. Rachel, I've known Rachel for a few years now, and she recently took our level 2 program at Prime Coaching Academy. Rachel is an executive leadership coach, a fabulous coach, because I have seen her coach many times, and she is fantastic. I invited Rachel here today because she has a specific focus on working with women. I wanted to get her perspective here. But Rachel, how would you like to introduce yourself to our audience here today?
Where do I begin? I'm a being in evolution, but I am currently doing many things. My family owns a hotel, and for many years I was a general manager at our family hotel. From there, I think a lot emerged from that career experience. And one of them is I created a retreat called Accelerate Women Leaders in Travel. So that's a project I work on the side, and I'm the founder and director of that yearly event. And from that, I gained a passion for coaching and went through coach training with Elias and in my level 1 and other great coaches. And at the same time, I still, carry this passion for travel and hospitality. So I stay very connected through my event and still overseeing. I'm no longer the general manager of our hotel, but I'm still overseeing the hotel. And then, part of my personal evolution was going after dreams and ambitions and decided out of the blue to become a flight attendant. So I'm now a flight attendant for a major airline. So yeah, I'm in the process of that evolution and seeing how all the pieces fit together. But and at the same time, I'm a mother. I have 3 wonderful children, all teenagers, a husband. Yeah, some other personal things about me is I live in Vermont, love the outdoors. I'm usually, if I'm home, I'm always taking the opportunity to get out on my mountain bike or go for a hike. Love being in the woods. That's really a big part of my life for sure.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm here with a broad smile listening to all of these facets of who you are as a person. And listeners, I don't know if you realize this, but every time I have a guest, I always ask them to share something personal about them because sometimes we are so focused on our professional lives. And I really want us to get a sense of the broad aspect, the multifaceted aspect of us, of every individual, and especially our guests, because I truly believe that all of these facets support us in being better coaches. And you, with this diverse background and diverse interest and excitement about life, it's so beautiful to see how much that enriches you in your coaching. Thank you so much, Rachel, for living life fully.
Yeah, thanks.
So, again, listeners, the reason why I invited Rachel here is that last year she invited me to be the first and only male speaker to this Accelerate retreat that you had in, I think it was New Hampshire then,
Yes.
right? It was a wonderful time to be there in person and feeling a little bit like an outsider, but at the same time participating and contributing to the retreat. Rachel, before we get into the main aspect of our conversation here today, what is Accelerate? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. So in 2019, I was feeling myself as a leader a little bit on an island and in managing my hotel. And I really had this eagerness to connect with other women leaders. And I really didn't have a space in which to do that. So I decided, well, I'm going to create it myself and started the first year with about 25 women. I knew that I wanted to have a retreat that had a coach approach to it so that we used certified coaches for workshops and the like. At the time, I really didn't know that I would myself step into coaching. I was more producing the event and finding coaches to run the workshops portion of the event. But now we've grown to 100 women yearly, many repeat participants. Every year we have different workshop themes around leadership within the context of hospitality and travel. And it happens mostly in New England, but we have ambitions to expand to multiple events per year, and we welcome also people from outside of New England. So it's become a really great community of learning and professional development.
Yeah, it was a fascinating event and wonderful to see the community and the people coming back on a year after year and building relationships and connections and supporting each other. And I hope that you're going to start branching this out outside of the hospitality industry, outside of New England, because it's a fabulous event. So thank you for starting this connection here. But Rachel, the reason why I invited you here, especially in this Culture in Coaching series that I have here at Prime Space, is your work with women. So, what are you noticing when you work with this segment of the population that is important for us to, as coaches, to keep in mind about their context?
Yeah. So I think some of the things that I've noticed, they come from kind of two different areas. One is actually listening to the women that we work with in the retreat or women that I have coached from other areas. But also that my event has also caused me to dive deeper into some of the research around women in leadership and what are the challenges that women face. I think one of the first that comes to mind is that where it comes from where I started is that sense of feeling alone and feeling like you're the only one dealing with a certain issue. So at first, it's that need for a community and a support network. And that I think is a huge common thing is that just by being part of a community, there's already this sense of strength that women gain from being part of a community. And it part of that is also because they feel seen. They feel seen, there's a sense of belonging. And every year at my retreat, we do a survey post retreat to see what their experience has been. And this has been one of the strongest recurring themes that comes out of those surveys. Another really big one is the sense of women having the ability to make a choice about their personal and professional lives. Sometimes there's like this idea of a prescribed path out there, and that you just are supposed to follow this path, and this is what success looks like. And okay, I'm just going to start off on that path. Or that they feel like there's all of these outside constraints, at least that's what I felt, is that there were these other outside of me things that were determining the course of my life. And I felt this lack of agency to change it.
Yeah, I remember clearly when I was at Accelerate last year, the common theme that I kept hearing over and over again is this: the voice, right? The opportunity to have their voice, to speak up, which is, by the way, as I was there, and also myself being part of a quote unquote minority, I was like, well, this is not just women. Like, if you are part of a less privileged group, there is that sense of where is my voice, can I have agency towards that, and it's
Right.
very clear, and it was very clear and palpable to see that from the women in that particular room. I'm curious here because you work with women clients, but you identify yourself as a woman as well. So what
Right.
are the parallels between your story and the stories that you see with your client, and how does that influence the coaching that you do with them?
Yeah, like I started with, I'm very much a person in evolution. Like I learned very early on from you and other coaches, our ability to be good coaches comes from constantly going back to who we are as people, as coaches. And when we do our development, our own personal development, we are then much more able to help support the transformation of others. So there's this constant symbiotic relationship, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that as a woman, I can relate to other women and the challenges that they are facing. I see myself in them and they see themselves in me. I think we're literally growing together in that relationship.
So I'm listening to you, and I'm here thinking of the opposite because I identify as male. So I didn't grow up with the perspective of looking at this world through a woman's
Hmm.
eyes. What may I be missing? What are things that perhaps I should be more aware of or keep in mind when I'm working with a client that identifies as a woman?
I mean, one of the things that I've seen emerge in the same way, like if I'm working with a woman who maybe has a piece of her identity that is not the same as mine, what I've become aware of is that in coaching, we're coaching the person, not the problem, right? So you're always bringing it back to who the person is and their beliefs and their values, their strengths, things like that. However, what becomes challenging is sometimes there is an outside context that really is influencing how the person sees themselves or how the person behaves. For instance, if someone is legitimately being discriminated against, then that really is a problem that needs to be addressed. And that doesn't get solved by focusing on the person and who they are. I mean, yes, they're related, like helping them develop to be able to address that situation is a key part of that. I mean, to make it more concrete, I think, I had a client once where she had some self-confidence and self-doubt issues. Now, that outside influence might be impacting that. That's not necessarily just an internal thing. There's actually an outside force that is influencing that abilities person to have confidence in themselves.
And I think that you landed in a beautiful point here. And the reason why I have this culturing coaching series here at Prime Space, because the bottom line is that when we are coaching the individual.
Hmm.
We are, and every person is a mix of several of these labels and these boxes that we have that is unique to that particular person. So that's why it's so important for us to focus on the individual and not the labels and the expectations and the stereotypes and all of the things that come with these labels, right? It's important for us to think of the individual. However, we cannot forget that that individual is part of a context. It's part of a
Right.
culture. It's part of a larger arena that influences how this person even sees themselves or the choices that they are making for themselves. And that's why I think it's so important for us to talk about the context of many different individuals and as many boxes as we have in this world, for us coaches to be aware of it. What is influencing this person just because of this label this person carries is influencing the way they are perceiving themselves and their world and the choices
Right.
that they are making. What would be some perspectives that an individual growing up identifying as a woman, that this individual has to contribute to our world?
Yes, I think that's a great question. This can be a slippery slope because you don't want to generalize the common experience of women, but I do think there are a couple things. One is the perspective of contributing to the collective versus individual gain. Women are often thinking about how can we make things better for all of us rather than just me. There's also issues around ego. Many women are thinking about other people, and that comes from, caring and empathy and things like that. Sometimes to a fault. Like it can also go in the other direction where they're constantly pleasing other people rather than taking care of themselves. So there's also that to watch out for. How can we grow and improve for as many people as possible? And it's rooted in that caring and empathy piece.
Such a wonderful message for all of us here. Thank you for sharing your experience. I cannot let you go without asking you to share with us and with our audience. You just came out of our level 2 program at Prime Coaching Academy. What did you think?
It was great. I mean, we had a wonderful group of students. I knew it was going to be great with two wonderful coaches that I've already had experience with, Elias and Amy. What I was looking for through the program was to have an experience that brought me to the next level. And it really did do just that. I was kind of feeling like I had stalled a little bit in my growth as a coach, and it really challenged me and pushed me to go further develop myself and my coaching skills. I see the change that it's brought to my coaching. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for trusting us with your coaching education and for sharing your perspective and exciting life with us. It's always a joy to share this space with you. Rachel, I'm always inspired by you and by who you are and what you do. And thank you so much for being here. Any final words you want to share with our audience here today before we close our episode?
I would just say, yeah, if you're interested in the Prime Coaching Academy, definitely start by attending Prime Hour. I did that myself and really enjoyed that and hope to get back to participating soon.
Fabulous. Prime Hour. Our schedule is on our website, and it's a free hour for the community where coaches from many different arenas come and we share, and we usually have a topic for us to discuss. It's always wonderful to share that with the community. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this podcast. Please share the podcast with others, and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next time. Take care.